Welcome to the Hamstring Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Paulo Navarro. Today is Wednesday, April 11, 2012. For the markets, the S&P 500 futures saw a high of the day of 1370.5 and a low of the day of 1362.5. We closed at 1364.25. Today's volume was 1.7 million contracts, in line with the 20-day moving average. For the Nasdaq futures, we saw a high of the day of 2723.75 and a low of the day of 2698.75. We closed at 2706.5. Today's volume was 270,000, a little higher than the 20-day moving average, around 260,000. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange Advanced Decline Differential closed at 1,604. The Nasdaq Advanced Decline Differential closed at 1,277. There were 5 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and 2 new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. For the volatility, we saw 560,000 contracts traded on the VIX today. The total premiums today was 700,000. For the dollar-weighted put-call ratio in April, we saw a 1.27 reading, which is bullish, with 30% of the total premiums paid. For May, we saw a 0.07 reading, which is bearish, and it had 41% of the total premiums paid. And June, we saw a 1.93 reading, with 21% of the total premiums paid. Okay, here we have the daily chart for ES. As you could see, we had an update today, 7.5 handles up today. That was almost everything, or more than everything, was done overnight. During the cash session, we actually fell throughout the day, ending up at the lows of the day, basically. We continue to be on the -2, -3 sigma channel. CI is pointing down, which is not good. For the intraday chart, you could see here, we opened around here, and then we just stayed during a range throughout the day, basically, and then just sold off a little by little. We were making new lows throughout the day and closed at the lows of the day of the cash session. Okay, here again is the daily chart for ES. As you could see here, we tested the 50-day moving average today throughout the day. We were not able to close above it. We closed again below the 50-day moving average. So we're watching that as some kind of resistance to the upside. And then the downside, I am looking at the 1334 level, which was the lows of March. I'm looking at that level as some support down on below, levels below. Here we have the gold futures daily chart. As you can see, we are sitting on the 20-day moving average. We're gonna see what happens. Basically today was flat, 0.1% down, basically flat. We have to see what happens here if we try to go higher and test the 200-day moving average at 1698, or we could call it 1700, or we're gonna go lower to test the 1600 level that we've been watching for a while. On the silver futures, this is the daily chart. We had a down day today, a little bigger than gold. It was 0.4% lower. We continue to have those lower levels, trying to test the lows below 31. We could be seeing the high 20s, so we're keeping an eye on those again, as we've been having. For the bonds, the 30-year bond, today had a down day, which was good for the stock market. We continue to be above the 140 level. We're watching the 50-day moving average to be broken again to the downside, which is at 39, almost 34. We're basically very close to breaking those levels, and below that we're watching the 137.5, which is the 200-day moving average. So those are the levels to watch here on the 30-year bonds. For the VIX, this is the daily chart. We were not able to break yesterday the 100-day moving average we talked about. Today we gapped down on the open because of the futures were higher overnight, and then throughout the day we just started making new highs. We almost closed the gap, but we were not able to close it. So we still looking at the 2102 as resistance, and Downward, we will look at the 1734, which is the 50-day moving average. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.